how to make the most money mining. That's what we are attacking today. We are going to evaluate based on the fundamentals, based on the tokenomics. We're going to look at the emissions. We are going to simply sit here and decipher how to make the most money mining. Yo, I'm Vosk. You're on the Voscoin YouTube channel. I've been working very hard over the last few years to build the Voscoin mining farm, and this is important research I need to personally do. And I'm like, well, might as well share it here on the tube as well. So as we like to say as miners, let's dig into it. All right, first things first, let me just remind you that the Bitmain Antminer K7 is one of the worst miners that I have ever had. This one just refuses to stay online, and it just always goes offline. Eventually you restart it like every day for a couple weeks, and then it'll finally stabilize for some weird reason. But then you'll get a power outage or something like I did, and it hasn't been stable again since. But anyway, moving on. So there's a basic principle that we're going to apply here, and we're going to look at emission. And this may seem simple at a glance, right? But we're not just going to look at what coins put out the most money per day. We're going to look at their halving schedule, right? How long will they put out this much money per day in newly mined coins? We're going to look at the miners that you need to mine them. I'm going to give you insider information.
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
That sounds way cooler than it is. I'm going to give you information from someone who's paying attention, that's me, on why some of these miners at a glance you may think that you would want, but you may actually not. Obviously, we got Bitcoin topping the charts, and we'll run through that one quickly because we talk about Bitcoin mining all the time. My favorite miners on the new Bitcoin miner generation is going to be the MicroBT What's miners. They sent us the M60S to review. Really impressed with it. However, if you compare it with the M60, dollar for dollar, this is probably going to be the better miner to buy. The M60S right now is carrying a premium of almost $1,000 additional dollars. And of the last generation of essentially the S19 Antminer series, these Bitcoin miners are coming in at around $2,400 to $2,500 in stock, ready to ship. These are good machines. I have several in my farm and a few more on the way. There's also the S21 miners. But if they don't change their power plug, then I'm not interested in them anytime soon, and they're going to realize a lot of other people are going to feel that same way and probably buy the MicroBT What's miners because you're getting about the same performance, but it's going to be easier to deploy. So let's kind of take a snapshot here for a second and understand what we're talking about. So we're looking at ASIC miners. These are application-specific integrated circuit miners. Almost all of the most profitable coins to mine in the world are mined with ASIC miners, for better and for worse. These are purpose-built machines. All they do is mine one specific mining algorithm. A Bitcoin miner cannot mine Kaspa, for example. Most of these are utilizing an attached power supply, and you need a dedicated circuit for them. You need the proper electricity voltage. In this case, we're going to be talking 240 voltage, right? You need to make sure you have the right power cables, C13, C14, C19, C20s. Look at all these things on screen. You may understand and know what these are. We're actually writing up an article, hopefully today or tomorrow, that's going to break down the differences between these and give you a nice visual. We have a 1-hour video guide walking you through all this stuff. If you're like, whoa, this is overwhelming, feeling like the BitConnect guy. Whoa, what's up? And there's a coin that's GPU mineable that we're going to talk about, and there's also a coin that's mined with hard drives that we're going to talk about. But that's kind of the preface and kind of what you should know and understand as we move forward in this video. So looking at the daily mining profitability of the S19K Pro, this thing's pulling 12 bucks a day. If you're paying 10 cents per kilowatt hour in your electricity rate, right, you're going to have to run the numbers and figure out what it's going to cost you to run. For me, it's 10 cents right now. Hopefully in the not incredibly far future, we're going to be looking at 7-8 cents, and then eventually powered by solar. But big endeavors there. It's costing me $7.80 a day to run. I'm putting about $4.16 of Bitcoin in my pocket. So, we have to get past the initial buy-in cost. We got to break even on these things, right? And then you actually really start, churning a real profit when it comes to mining. Because why would you buy a miner instead of buying the coin? Well, at some point you hope that after your miner buy-in cost, you recoup all of that and you're making more money in mining or coins. You're earning more than you're burning in electricity. So at that point, you know, instead of having $2,000 worth of Bitcoin, you have, say, a paid off miner, and eventually you mine $3,000 worth of Bitcoin, right? You own an asset and you ended up with even more coin, ideally, right? But it doesn't always work out so beautifully. The elephant in the room that we need to talk about is the Bitcoin halving. So in about the end of April 2024, Bitcoin will halve. That means the amount of Bitcoins mined per day are cut in half. Generally speaking, historically, this is a bullish event that leads to a new all-time high. Future, never guaranteed, but everything's a cycle when you look at things historically and zoom out. So $20 million of new mined coins per day is still a lot of money to go around. But can you cut the mining profitability of a Bitcoin miner in half today, right? And still be in the green? For me, a lot of these I can't. So it's quite literally a bet on Bitcoin going up and staying up in the future. So, we'll see. So this is a Musk miner, right? And what's a Musk miner? Well, it's a Bitcoin miner, and Musk Miners is a mining farm operator. So they boast about having hassle-free mining, right? Host your miners with them. They use excess flare gas for cheap electricity rates. If you want to get into mining, but you don't actually want to do, well, the mining, the Musk Miners may be for you. We've got a link out in the video description below. And all I ask is consider supporting someone who supports the Litecoin YouTube channel. And also thank you for watching this, because your view really is also support here as well. Let's move on to the hottest coin to mine this year. Number 2, the second most profitable coin to mine when ranked by daily emission. And these aren't weirdly high. All of these are pretty average, what we see all the time. So we're going to be talking about Kaspa. Kaspa's putting out a lot of money per day, and the miners are crazy profitable. Here's a glance at mine. You can see I have many different models of the ice rivers. So these are our Kaspa miners. Here's, you can see the KS0, the KS0 Pro, which looks just like the KS0. These are cool, fun little mini miners. These are great hobby style miners. These are great intro miners, and they've performed very well and been very profitable. Then there's the KS1, KS2. These are the smaller versions of the big scale miners, but they still need a 240 voltage circuit. This isn't something you can plug in any outlet around your house, right? Then there's the KS3M, which is, I would say, the most popular and most highly produced Kaspa ASIC miner. It normally comes in at the best value for the hash rate, right? And then there's the KS3 that's made by Bitmain. That is the best Kaspa miner other than the Wind miner, which we're not sure actually really even exists or is reliable. We'll see. But it's the most efficient, it's the most profitable, and has the best overlap with Antminer parts. So Kaspa mining looks great. It's super lucrative. Cool. So what's the catch, right? Well, the network hash rate is ballooning. Since April of this year, it has become basically 106 times more difficult to mine the same amount of coins. But it's actually even more than that, because Kaspa reduces their emission monthly. It effectively halves annually. So you can see in January, the emissions are going down to 138 coins per block. And then in February, it's going down to 130 coins per block. And you'll see it'll keep ramping down, down, down. This will decrease the mining profitability of the miners if nothing else changes. Keep in mind, they're all still very profitable and lucrative. So these manufacturers will keep manufacturing as many miners as they possibly can and selling as many as they possibly can. People will keep buying them at inflated prices. They will keep hooking them in, and the profitability will continue to go down, 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 down. So it's kind of a race against time. How much money can you make, and where will this kind of bottom out and kind of reach some sort of steady mining profitability? Can Kaspa keep going up in price to help sustain this mining ecosystem? I don't know. I've placed my bets accordingly, and I'm kind of at a good spot, a good space with all of these miners, and I think I'm kind of happy to sit here. But as you can see, I've got a fair amount of Kaspa miners, and some of these I've had for a little while. I had the KS0 when it was mining $25 a day in Kaspa. That was crazy profits for such a little miner. So We work with ASIC Marketplace. They're getting us these miners quick, and it's making the difference in our bottom line with our profitability. So if you want to support the channel and support someone who supports us, please use ASIC Marketplace. If you enjoy this free content, please use ASIC Marketplace. Punch in the code Boscoin to save some coin. And if you find a better deal elsewhere, shoot them an email and say that you want to buy with them because you found out about them from Boscoin, but there's a better deal somewhere else. Can you please beat that? So looking at these miners, right, we're referencing all these things. These miners are very expensive, you know, from somewhere between $1,000 to, you know, nearly 18 grand. Again, realistically, most people are buying the KS0 Pro right now, or they are buying the KS3M, which comes in at around, you know, $10,000. The KS3, yes, the best miner, but no, it is not the best price. And that additional part overlap, that additional density, that additional efficiency, to be frank, is just not going to be worth it for most people. I absolutely love my KS3. It's been just a workhorse, rock solid. But I also got in at a lower price than these things are selling for after Kaspa continued to increase in the cryptocurrency coins KAS price. So the Wind Miner, this thing, most powerful, most efficient, you know, when you look at the data, most expensive by far too. I don't know what maniacs are buying these. Good luck to those that are. So basically, any way you slice it, if you want to get into Kaspa mining right now, you're pretty much going to be looking at a KS0 Pro, or you're going to be looking at a KS3M. One thing to keep in mind is that as of right now, when I'm recording this, that Ice River has opened up orders for the KS0 Pros again. Trust me when I say they're trying to sell as many of these as they possibly can. They love selling shovels in a gold rush, those ASIC miner producers. So we have a link and coupon code with them, which can save you a couple bucks. These are cheaper than ASIC Marketplace, but they're a pre-order, right? You know, the difference between ordering the KS0 Pro today from ASIC Marketplace is they say they can get it shipped to you within a week. These have an estimated delivery date by the end of January. You run the numbers, the savings may be worth it. I want you to be aware of both, and you make whatever decision you'd like to do. Moving on to the third coin that could make you the most money mining it per day is going to be Dogecoin, but we're actually going to circle back to it. And let's not forget that Dogecoin is merge mined with Litecoin. And when you actually combine them, Dogecoin and Litecoin combined are putting out about as much daily mined coins as Kaspa at its current price and emission rate. So we're actually going to move to Ethereum Classic, but first let's touch on number 4. I'm like jumping all over the place like that meme on the board. So Karlsen, I think the name sounds funny and honestly ridiculous. Carl! When I think of Karlsen, all I think is Rick Grimes going, Carl! 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 And Walking Dead. So this is basically a GPU mineable fork of Kaspa. There's really not much else to it. Putting out a crazy amount of coins per day, low market cap on a couple coin exchanges. Look into it and try it out if you want. I want you to be aware. It's not something I'm personally really dabbling with. I moved away from GPU mining over the last several years because that was the right decision, even though I caught a lot of flack for it. But GPU mining has continued to be an awful investment unless you spec mine and that spec mine coin takes off. But GPUs are, you know, barely even breaking even at best most days. The GPU mining sector is heavily saturated with a bunch of GPU miners sitting on gear, and there's really not that much to mine. So just kind of understand and be advised on that. Do some more research and do whatever you want to do. All right, so now let's get to Ethereum Classic. This is the original Ethereum chain, if you don't know. It's putting out $330,000 of newly mined ETC coins per day. And I find it kind of a lackluster chain. Honestly, with the way Ethereum has gone, I would love ETC to just overtake Ethereum. But I think if ETC honestly ever wants to be taken serious and not just kind of viewed as like Ethereum's Trojan horse, I guess, if you will, they should rebrand and make themselves a real project, a serious project. Ethereum Classic honestly just sounds like a joke in this era. Many years ago, a lot of coins would, you know, take a coin and add something to the back of it, like Bitcoin Cash, or it was like Ethereum Classic, or like there was like a Monero Classic, and a bunch of other stuff. But in this era, it's just super lame. I mean, They should just rebrand themselves like Ether or something if they really want to be stuck to like, we are Ethereum, we are Ether. Or they could move on to just an entirely new name like Voscoin's the man. And honestly, that would probably take them to the moon. It's a joke. I'm not that conceited. Jeez. But here's the deal is that Ethereum Classic mining is very saturated from a lot of Ethereum miners trying to find a place to be profitable at all. So the latest and greatest and best Ethereum Classic miner, I still haven't been able to get one in hand to actually check out, have it on order, is the Jazz Miner X16P. So this thing costs over $8,000. It's a very expensive miner, and the profit is over $7 per day at a 10 cent per kilowatt hour electricity rate. It mines about 12 bucks a day. It's a pretty profitable miner for what it is, but it's very expensive. And these Jazz miners in particular are really carrying a premium. We also reviewed the quiet version. That one earns a couple dollars more than it burns per day. It's much cheaper. It truly is very quiet. It is well suited to be an at-home type miner, but it's again, it's very expensive for what that hardware is. So if it, in particular you find something interesting with ETC, then Ethereum Classic could be an interesting endeavor. I do think it's kind of like a safer way to diversify your mining farm. Like, okay, I've got these and these and these. Let me throw an Ethereum Classic miner in there to kind of diversify it. Some of these miners can also dual mine, so they can dual mine Zilliqa as well as ETC. There are a couple other coins on this mining algorithm that you can pursue. So just some things to keep in mind. But much like Ethereum Classic mining, to be frank, is kind of boring. Enter Chia XCH, producing almost as many coins per day in thousands of dollars compared with their market cap in millions of dollars. We've seen this really throughout most of the last year. Wherever that market cap seems to be trading around is about what we're seeing in daily emissions. So about $289 million market cap, about $284,000-$85,000 emission in the last 24 hours. It has had a big price surge in the last 7 days, up almost 15%. This has been a welcome news for people looking at the day-to-day mining profitability of Chia, or it's actually called Chia farming. It's mining with hard drives. Evergreen has made a plug-and-play hard drive miner. We collaborated with them to bring our own Voscoin Tails edition to market. They've upgraded it, which is pretty cool. And there's different sizes to meet different budgets. The more you spend, the less you're paying per hard drive, making it, a better buy. But the honest answer is that these are a long-term play, and really you're kind of banking on Chia hitting at least a 10x to try to get a good return. It's not the most lucrative mining endeavor. You look at the mid-range unit, it's earning a couple bucks a day, and that's not a huge return for spending thousands of dollars. It's super energy efficient, and that's a unique selling factor of these. This whole kit right here uses like 100 watts. All these other miners we've been looking at today and talking about are using like 3,000 watts. You could deploy literally 30 of these and have the same electrical footprint. This makes Chia farming much more distributed and viable for people basically anywhere throughout the world, even if you've got a sky-high electricity rate. If you think it sounds cool and you want to just get started with a smaller one, right? They have starter kits, which honestly, they really don't earn much unless you get really lucky and hit a block. And when you hit a block in Chia farming, you get a bonus mining reward, and it doesn't even touch the pool. It goes straight to you in your wallet, which is an incredible cool like finder's fee that I think is a lot of fun with Chia farming. But the point is, with these starter kits, it's really not about making money. You try it out, you test it out, and you see if the app really does work well, and it does the thing work, and is it easy, is it loud, it's very quiet, right? You could plug it into the wall and check the power draw. They've recently added a Tails starter kit, which I think is really cool. These become more expensive. These have a better hub in them. They have better compression, right? They're C3 compression versus C5. That's a difference between basically 20% more mining power on C3 and 25% more mining power on C5. It's kind of a lot to throw at you, so I'm not trying to overwhelm you on that front. But no matter what happens, if you grab one, please punch in the code Voscoin, because it stacks with all their other discount codes and it'll save you some more coin on top of anything else that they may be running at that time. If you're looking for another hard drive mining alternative, there's also the plug and play Juicy miners. Again, it's essentially the same concept, but their version of it, and they have different miners to suit different budgets, you know, from 500 bucks all the way up to 6,250. And maybe you don't want to buy a plug and play miner. Maybe you're a DIY guy. That's cool. When it comes to Chia farming, you can DIY it. You can make your own Chia farming rig. But it is a little bit more difficult and technical to do that. But we have an incredible community in the Dogecoin Discord server and the forum. Join it, connect with others in the hard drive mining section. They will help you get started. They'll answer questions you have, and we'll all work with you until you got a rig up and running, because that's basically the theme and the vibe in the server. It's more about the collective, people helping each other, having fun. And remember, if you don't have any friends in crypto or even in mining, you know, connect with other people on the internet. Trying to drag your buddy who's not really interested into this stuff is just going to end poorly for you and him. So connect with other like-minded individuals and honestly have a better time, more fun, and you'll probably end up getting better returns too. If you want to see what the mining profitability of one of these rigs looks like, you can see this here on Pool Space. I've hit 4 blocks that basically put a bonus entire Chia coin into my pocket, you know, which has currently a whopping gains of like 31 bucks. And you can see over the last 24 hours I've mined about $3. This whole rig cost me like $5 at most, I think, like a month to run. So I pretty much clear my electricity bill in 1 to 2 days, and then everything else is, you know, going right into my pocket or my Chia wallet. Again, thousands of dollars in hard drives to get there, so take from it what you will. And also, just like Evergreen, we have a great relationship with Juicy Miners and a discount code and a link that supports you and the channel down in the video description below. But the elephant in the room when it comes to Chia, right, and I ain't talking about the Chia pets, is that there's a halving coming up, right? 97 days. There's a halving in 2024. So that will cut the daily emission in half. To be frank, I think this is going to be good for the Chia price. I think dollar for dollar that Chia miners will not really lose too much, if nothing else, maybe even gain in daily USD mining profitability. But obviously, you're going to be mining less coin. I think the coin price is going to go up, right? It's not financial advice. And if you look at my hard drive mining set, I'm clearly literally betting on this, or banking on it, or hoping, or hopium, or whatever. And please don't think that all, like when I say stuff like that or show stuff like that, that means like I'm trying to get you into this to, like, you know, pump my bags or whatever. You getting into mining actually creates more competition for me and decreases my potential mining returns. But I think that, you know, mining growing is creating a more distributed and decentralized networks, adding value, and to be frank, increasing the value of these cryptocurrencies in their network, which will bring appreciation. So basically, in the end, it'll all work out. We'll see, right? Looking at stock to flow, you can see that Chia trades under stock to flow significantly. According to stock to flow, Chia should be trading over $400 right now. If you believe in the stock to flow, this is modeled after Plan B's Bitcoin stock to flow chart. You can see that there was only one, you know, intersection period here in basically June of 2022 with this chart. Personally, I think in a bull run, Chia will hopefully 10x. Maybe more, but that's kind of where I see the chips falling. With a conservative point of view, I generally kind of operate conservatively, and it helps me create a more viable mining operation. So regardless, this has been a very interesting way to diversify my personal mining farm because the electric footprint is so freaking low. It's also going to be the first thing I power with solar, and I even want to get it on batteries and completely off grid, just because that electrical consumption is so low. It's just going to be truly possible and viable. So moving forward, the last coin we're going to talk about today, and as you can see in this emission chart, there's even more coins to explore. Actually, we're going to talk about 2 more. I lied. Actually, technically 3 more. I double lied. So we're going to bring it back to Dogecoin, Litecoin. This is mined on the script mining algorithm. These coins are mined together. Most people have heard about Dogecoin, and many people have heard about Litecoin as well. So what you need to know, right? We look at the mining profitability, and we look at the L7. I've got 2 L7s. This seems a little low. They're making, honestly, that seems a little high over there too. Let's take the average. These things are making, and I check this all the time, like constantly every day. You know, 12, 13 bucks after the electric bill. These L7s are probably putting like $5 a day or so in my pocket. And these L7s, these are miners that were initially debuted in 2021. They ran through all of 2022, and they've been sold throughout all of 2023. These are the oldest miner that Bitmain is producing. They're sold out on Bitmain's site. Their last listed price is $6 grand, $4 grand if you had this nonsense coupon stuff and you spend like literally $1 million. Oh, it's interesting. I never really see videos on their site. But anyway, that's the gist, right? 9,000 mega hash a second, 3,200 watt consumption. You see the efficiency breakdown there as well. So if we go over to ASIC Marketplace, you can see that we pretty much match or beat their prices here. There's two different main models. You'll see the 9.16 gigahash a second. 1,000 mega hash is 1 gigahash for your reference if you don't know that. But yeah, anyway, two main models. You see them, you see the price point here. The bottom line is these are profitable miners right now. And if you run the numbers and look at the coins and like how Dogecoin has a unlimited supply, so it'll just keep making more and more Doge year over year forever. You would think that building a Dogecoin mining farm would make a lot of sense. And you look at the emission and it's tied basically for the second most profitable coin to mine. It would make a lot of sense. But this is kind of that information of someone paying attention I referenced earlier. This is a very, 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 very outdated miner. See, the release is November 2021. That's what I was remembering as well. So this is a mining rig that is more than 2 years old. Honestly, it's kind of unheard of in the mining space. So I can assure you that Bitmain has in their pocket a miner that they will sell for around this price that is twice as powerful, okay, and uses the same electricity. It will, which means it'll be twice as efficient, right? And there's been rumors of what's been dubbed the L9 all year. And I think that Bitmain, the manufacturer here, has just been top dog with no competition in the script mining space. So why would they release a 2.0 version just to one up themselves when they can just keep that in their pocket? And if anybody is able to match this, bang, they just drop their new model and put the other guys straight out of business, straight to DVD, man.
This is DVD.
That's my 2 cents on that. I've got a couple. I'm sitting here waiting for the new model. When the new model comes out, if it's great, I'm going to be probably, tripling down on my script mining footprint in my mining farm, if not more. So again, right, we'll see what happens there. The last coin I want to touch on is going to be Monero. It's mined on RandomX. Recently, an ASIC miner was released for it. This is the Bitmain Antminer X5. It trades at around 3 grand. It's really just a couple CPUs stuffed in an ASIC miner case. It's actually not really an ASIC miner, but it's essentially the same nonetheless. Power draw is really low. I really enjoy and appreciate that. Hash rate's pretty good, like a couple epic CPUs. It's using their power supply, which is great if you're set up for that. But the power draw on this would have been so well suited to be an at-home miner and have a power supply that could do 110, 120 voltage, right? Plug in a normal US wall outlet. But that's not what anyone got here. This thing, it's not super profitable. There's not a ton of coins mined per day on Monero. It's in what's called the tail emission phase. Basically, there's just a little bit of Monero XMR produced constantly, just forever to kind of keep the chain going. But what we want to see is a lot more firmware updates to mine other coins. The mining profitability has gone up significantly on the RandomX mining algorithm thanks to Zephyr. And that's, look at that. It's down 30% in the last 7 days, and it's still producing more than 3 times the daily emissions of Monero. So apparently there's been a firmware update. I haven't had time to mess around with it yet, but a firmware update that may make it possible to mine that with the X5. Otherwise, all the CPU miners that have more flexibility with their DIY CPU mining rigs are jumping on that and earning some sweet cash. I'd love to see more CPU mining. I think it's way underdone. I really like the X5. Some people have had issues with theirs. Mine's been good, rock solid. And on mining Monero, it's not the most lucrative thing or anything, right? And I just have it sitting here on 2 miners. Apparently, some people are making more on a couple other mining pools. Unsure. Haven't tested it a bunch, but you can see yesterday I earned $7. And this is a miner that cost me maybe $3 a day to run. So probably putting like $4 of, earning more than I'm burning profit in my pocket. So interesting developments, and if Zephyr is going to continue to be a profitable coin to mine, that makes CPU mining just in general much more interesting and viable, as well as Monero mining. On my to-do list also is to just build some more DIY CPU mining rigs. Personally, I think that's more fun and interesting. I hate to sound negative, right? But honestly, I kind of think that GPU mining is, by and large, dead. Just due to the fact that there's so many GPUs sitting out there that just want to be on something, and there just ain't much. It just ain't much. But all it takes is just one big project to just skyrocket in value and totally rejuvenate the GPU mining sector, much like Ethereum did. GPU mining was dead until Ethereum came back and brought in like the next golden era of GPU mining. So of course that's possible too. It's not that I hate GPUs or hate GPU mining. It just, to be frank, has been a poor investment over the last few years. But when I got into this in 2017, it was like the most lucrative thing you could do. And it's not all about money or anything for me, but I don't want to spend tens of thousands of dollars to break even on my GPU mining rig, and it has a pretty high electrical footprint. At least with like say hard drive mining, the electrical footprint is so low. So this is my breakdown of everything going on. I'm surprised how long this video turned out, but this is, in my opinion, critical research because if you're kind of building a farm in real time, attacking the coins with the highest emission, and understanding the mining landscape, and also kind of the just tokenomics, like is there a halving, how many coins will be made, or are they going to run out of coins to mine, all this kind of stuff. It's very important and can set you up for success. And you contrast that, right, with all the noobs who they just see a really profitable miner and they buy it and they think it's going to be like that for forever, right? It's just not the case. Everything's changing drastically. And personally, I think the times will continue to get better over the next year or two. So I think the most profitable recent days are ahead of us, not behind us. I'm still in a period of expanding. And over the next year or so, I'm probably going to reach a point where I kind of stop and I'm like, okay, we've built well, we've built in the bear, we got everything set up, we worked out the bugs. Now it's time to let it eat. And honestly, I'm kind of hungry. And Tails, well, sometimes she eats lunch with us too because she's cute. And check out this comment where my man promoted her to the CSO, the Chief Safety Officer, because we run 10 seconds of Tails on every video. And I'm hungry, and that's all I got today. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. Let me know what questions you have in the comments below. And please comment and let me know what coin you think is the best to mine moving forward. And just, it can be quick. Why?